the world was created, there was a giant, Uab, who ate so much that his body exploded into hundreds of pieces. It is those pieces that make up the islands of Palau. In the south of the archipelago, the rock islands provide the spectacular sight of a chain of green, mossy balls floating in turquoise water. It's a completely protected site. Certain islands have even been closed to the public for over 50 years. There are plenty of islands open to visitors, though, and for that, nothing is better than sea kayaking. Ken is native to Palau. He has been guiding tourists in this labyrinth of islets for 5 years. Today, the rock islands are uninhabited, yet it is here that the story of the island's inhabitants began. This cave, in an old Palauan village, tells this story, which began around 1000 BC.
Welcome you to what we call a Tarzan cave. See the water dripping from the top? That's fresh water from the rain. And here on the island, we receive 144 inches of rain in a year. That's about 12 feet of water.
In this tropical climate, the plants take over even the smallest of spaces. Many species, in particular palm trees, can't be found anywhere else.
As you see from the top, guys, there's these vines running down. They're working their way down and then penetrating to the island. And here on the island, the 144 inches of water, the islands are more like sponges, so they absorb water. So the vines feed from the water from there, and then the tree itself photosynthesizes. So they're really spreading out from the top, from the outside, forming that mushroom-shaped island. You can see the whole pile of rocks here. Have a picture in your mind. If this pile of rocks was up there and then you got a big room from here, you can get no rain. It's pretty good for shelter. We're talking hundreds of years ago. It's a good safe defense for them because the island itself are hard to climb because they're stiff from the outside. Okay?
Progressively, the first inhabitants moved towards the more fertile, more accessible islands to the north. The rock islands have gradually been abandoned. Since man left for the north, virgin nature reigns supreme. Kayaking allows us to travel closest to the islands and to understand their form. The foundation is eaten away by the erosion of the waves, the tides, by the small mollusks, and the dripping of acid waters onto the limestone.
What we have down here is the center part of a Eurofighter plane, and these were brought down during the Desecrated One.
Desecrate 1 is the code name for an aerial attack carried out by the Americans in 1944. Planes, warships, the waters of Palau abound with wrecks from the Second World War, to the great pleasure of divers. Making the most of the rock islands also means taking the time to stop on the many small shaded beaches that are dotted around the islands.
Here we are, in Marvin Beach.
The tourists are not the only ones. The Palau people frequently come to spend the weekend here. Some fish, a pan of sea cucumber, and some lazing around. For Ken, the guide, it is also the time to give in to his favorite pleasure.
Hey, energy back.
His pick-me-up, in a small bag that he is never without, is the beetle that nearly all Palauans chew all day long. A small areca nut, a bit of lime, which comes from coral powder, and a few other ingredients.
And that's the tobacco.
Why do you put tobacco inside?
Just to add more additional taste. But back in the old days, they do it with the peppermint leaf only.
And this peppermint leaf?
That's what gives you the red color. And without one of these...
An appetite suppressant and a mild stimulant, the Palauans are hooked on beetle.
Doesn't get any better than this. Help yourself.
I think I'll pass.
Okay. It comes to choose. Not bad.
The majority of tourists come to Palau in search of other sensations. Here, the master sport is diving in the majestic scenery of the Rock Islands. Captain Cousteau had ranked the collection of islands among the most spectacular in the world, and since then, divers have been spreading the word. People come from the four corners of the earth to explore dive sites which have become mythical.
Okay guys, can everybody see me? Okay, if there is a current, I suggest please do not swim too fast. Let the current do all the work. The wall itself is a really beautiful wall.
Tim has close to 1,000 dives to his name in the Palau waters, and before becoming an instructor, he monitored the natural area of the Rock Islands as a ranger.
Nevertheless, don't forget to look out into the blue. You never know, you might see something good, big, passing by. Okay guys, the pool is open.
To find yourself facing a nautilus is to contemplate a bit of prehistory. This cephalopod has hardly changed in shape in 400 million years. Silvertip sharks. Grey reef sharks. As harmless as a Napoleon fish for the divers, the sharks are protected in the waters of Palau, and you come here to observe them. And under the indifferent eye of the barracudas, here is the queen of the Palau waters, the manta ray. To observe this gentle giant, it is enough to position yourself at its cleaning spot. The rays move around it slowly to allow the cleaner wrasses to clean their mouths and to rid their gills of all the parasites. With all this underwater wealth, the remarkable preservation of Palau began with strict traditions that have protected certain zones and forbidden fishing during the breeding season. These traditions have recently been encouraged with new laws protecting natural areas. In such a way, the island of Nameles is the property of the traditional leaders. Only the beach is open to the tourists, and only for the last 6 months.
I mean, the elders protected the nature because it was a source of their life. This is what they live on every day. So even though now the governments are looking at it as one of the main source of income because of the tourism flow to the islands because of the nature, I think it's still, they made a wise decision to preserve and protect it.
To the north of the Rock Islands, above Koror, the country's main town, extends the large island of Babeldob. It's almost entirely virgin land and sparsely inhabited. It is here that Francis Torrebiong, a well-known figure in Palau, chose to settle. This pioneer of tourism explored every nook and cranny of the island and discovered the main dive sites. But for a few years, he has taken a back seat. On his family's land, he has recently gone into forestry plantation.
These are mahogany. This one also, right here. The mahogany trees.
Francis has also planted teaks, nonis and lemon trees. He would like other Palauans to follow his pioneering initiative.
The environment is the key for this place to generate revenue. But we need to, there's a point in time that we need to slow down or else we destroy the place. So I was in the diving business, I'm still in the diving business, but I can see that if we continue bring more people to diving to generate taxes, it's not going to work. So I decided I'd try something else, planting trees. And I'm hoping it's a long term, but I think it will work.
The initiative is new to Palau. The lands of the archipelago are almost untouched. Francis has set up home next to his plantation. He built his house on a former bauxite mine, worked by the Japanese between the 2 world wars. 70 years later, nature still hasn't reasserted itself. Proof that the ecosystem on these small islands is fragile. Regularly, Francis leaves his plantation to carry on with the exploration of an island he has never stopped crisscrossing. We are on Kayangel, an atoll in the north of Palau. After a 2-hour boat ride, Francis has just arrived on the island. Kayangel is a small condensed version of the way of life of the islanders.
Hello, this is the port at Kayangel. No, sorry, the boat left an hour ago.
All kinds of people asking questions. Island way of life, depending on each other. Scratch your back, I scratch your back. Scratch my back, I scratch your back. Coffee over here for everybody. House for the guest. Public coffee. Water. Banana. Yeah, banana, very good. A local banana. It's only good for a short time, so only people in the island can enjoy it. I wish everybody can have it.
"60 or so people live permanently on the island. The school has no more than 16 pupils. For daily sustenance, there is fishing, fruit, and of course the indispensable coconut. With its lagoon well stocked with fish, protected by a coral reef, Kayangel offers its people an idyllic setting.
It's not easy to live in paradise. The majority of people want to move to Koror. Now there's like 60 people live at Kayangel, and the total population is close to 500. So you can see very small population live over there, and it's not easy. They love their home island, but it's very hard.
Koror is the main town in Palau. 13,000 of the island's 21,000 people live here. In other words, everything happens here around one big main street. The influence of the former protecting power, the United States, can be seen everywhere. The country has only been independent since 1994. Lots of young Palauans will go to do their university studies in Hawaii or Guam. Some of them will try their luck abroad and leave their little native paradise. Just as fragile as the coral, a bizarre curiosity nestles at the heart of the rock islands. The island of Monsieur Shah is home to a marine lake. A few minutes climb up in the jungle, then back down the other side to reach the interior lake in what looks like a crater. Translucent water at 31 degrees Celsius. Very ordinary in Palau. But plunging your head under the water, it is a completely different universe that you discover. There are millions of them, with the sweet name of Mastigius Palau Archipelago, and they are harmless to people. "10,000 years ago, these jellyfish were isolated from their fellow lagoon creatures and in this lake found ideal development conditions. Their behavior is unique. Without change, every day they begin a complex migration in the lake. By the millions, they follow the rays of sunlight, for which they have an essential need, all the while avoiding the areas of the lake inhabited by anemones, which are deadly to them. It's the end of the day for Ken and the two tourists he is guiding in the Rock Islands. At a bend in a channel, the rock faces give way to the mangrove swamp.
This place is called Long Lake. It's narrow and mangroves on both sides. The rhizophora mangroves are only here to filter, so we have that clear water from the inside. It's a nursery area. Small fishes are only in here just to be well protected. There's no predators inside. So as they grow much bigger to the size, they can feed out there and then they head out.
Eels and red crabs of the mangrove swamps. The fauna is as rich as the lush flora.
If you go really slow and gentle, and then you got a chance to see saltwater crocodiles.
This type of crocodile can grow up to 5 meters in length. But there is no danger. The crocodile is much more wary of you. The journey ends at dusk on the island of Oolong.
This type of job down here on the island is one of the best. Yeah, you come out here with this kind of beauty, which only now you can have, but in the future there'll be a little changes, of course. Yeah.
Which changes?
Depending on global warming and pollution too. The water changes gets really high. During a full moon, the tide comes up this far and brings the silk to the water and then wash down and cover some of the corals. So less corals, less fish food. Yeah, that's one of the effects.
Even if this little paradise is thousands of kilometers away, its fate is also linked to our actions.